Welcome back to everyone to the Horsefall Stadium for the second half between Avenue and Kings Lynn. Should be a couple of minutes away from the second half. I'm sure you could all hear the referee's whistle there. I don't know even where that came from. Avenue will be hoping to assert some more dominance in the start of this second half as I look to find the first win of the season at the first opportunity of asking. Kings Lynn, I'm sure the manager will be hoping that his team find a little bit more flow in this half. It's not really worked going into the big man up top. Ponticelli getting in and around the number 9 has done well, but also seemed to lose a little bit of composure at times in the first half. Players now coming back out for both sides to take the quick warm-up before the start of the second half. Thank you all for joining us on YouTube here today as we bring you some footage from the Conference North. Hopefully it can be something that we bring to you as a club this season on a little bit more of a regular basis as we travel home and away with the Avenue. Be Avenue that get us back underway in the second half. It'll be Jamie Spencer taking the kick-off. Referee happy with both sides to get us back underway. We'll get going on the referee's whistle. Back into Fielding, and Fielding will look to go instantly long towards Johnson. Johnson in a 50-50 with Crowther. Sees goes out for a throw-in for Avenue. Fielding. As I said during a lot of pre-season, Fielding will be finding himself in his more unnatural position as in midfield. He has played there a lot for Avenue, and he did play there for York as well, but more naturally a centre-back. So in the moments where he needs to find a quick turn of pace or quick turn of direction, it's not something that's natural for him. His distribution, his passing range is pretty good. He's going to have to improve in that area if he's going to hope to make a centre midfield spot his own for the season. Kings Lynn now with a throw-in on the near side. We'll get back underway with Scott. Scott plays it in to Ponticelli and he gives it back to Scott. Looking for options. Ponticelli buzzing around again. He cuts in on his right hand side now, on his right foot, sorry. Looking for options, gives it in to Michael Clunan. Clunan looks to go out wide to Jones. Jones cuts inside again. Back inside to Ponticelli. Ponticelli looking for the overlap, and unfortunately for Kings Lynn, doesn't just break. Johnson defends it well. Johnson now will look to break for Avenue and gives it into Maruza. Maruza cuts inside. Good turn by Maruza. Maruza keeps on going and keeps on going. Here's Hopper, plays it into Church. Church. And it's a slide and no penalty given. It's surely got to be a corner if there's no penalty. It was Coulson, I believe, on Church. And the referee says, no, we're going to have a Kings Lynn goal kick. It's an unbelievable moment, really. He's either surely won the ball or it's a foul. And it's neither for the referee. And he does give a Kings Lynn goal kick. It looked to me as if Adam Crowther, it was, for Kings Lynn, had got the wrong side of Eddie Church, slid in really where he probably didn't need to, and took Church down. He certainly didn't win the ball, and it did look like we should have had an Avenue penalty there, but nothing given, and we're back underway with Ponticelli down the left-hand side for Kings Lynn. Ponticelli cuts back on his right foot, he crosses the ball in, and Sykes Kenworthy again straight off his line to claim the cross comfortably into his hands. Big moment there for Avenue with that penalty call. Certainly at this level you play for moments like that, and you certainly hope that the tide goes with you. Unfortunately on this occasion nothing given. Avenue now back on the attack with Ollie Johnson. Ollie Johnson plays it inside to Richmond, and Richmond unfortunately gives the ball straight back to the Kings Lynn back line. Great work by Jamie Spencer to stick his foot straight back in, and it goes straight off the number 14 Cameron Hargreaves for Kings Lynn and out for an Avenue throw-in. Throw-in will be taken by Marudza. I'm sure that it'll take me at least 4 games of the season to get used to the Huddersfield Loney's name. No doubt it'll probably be gone by the time I'm fully up to speed with it. It's a good ball, this, into the channel for Johnson. Johnson's going to get there. He does, and he keeps it in as well from going out for a goal kick. He tried to nutmeg the number 5 Adam Crowther for Kings Lynn, and he gave possession away. Kings Lynn now able to clear the ball into Omotayo. Spencer there first, wins a free kick extremely well. Once again does the Avenue centre midfielder right on halfway. Jamie Spencer got himself as a reputation at this level of being a tenacious tackling centre midfielder. Certainly one that the referees don't really like to see too often because he is constantly on the moan. Fielding goes left to right in towards Hopper. Hopper jumps extremely well for a small man. He's no more than 5'9", 5'8", something along them lines, and gets up extremely well to put in the battle. Does the young man. Dunstan will look to take the throw-in into Richmond. He gives it back to Dunstan. Dunstan looking up for options. Not really anything in the middle for him. Goes back to Spencer. Again gives it to Dunstan. Good passage of play by Avenue. Spencer plays it off the Lynn. Fullback Scott, and out for another throw-in. Spencer battling hard with Scott, wins another throw-in. Spencer and Scott in a bit of a scuffle, in a bit of a 50-50. You see the wry smile from the Avenue midfielder. Church brings the ball down well, gives it back to Dunstan. Dunstan asks to do a lot, does keep the ball in. It's a good tackle by Scott, and he managed to keep the ball in as well. And Hopper then sliding in, claims a corner. It's probably not, and it's out for a goal kick for Kings Lynn. It's always the hope of every team to start a season off successfully, no more than in the first game of the season. Hope to find your feet. So the performance actually doesn't matter as much as the result really at this stage of the season. You just want to get them points on the board as quickly as possible. Both these teams for very different reasons, as Kings Lynn hope to attack the top end and Avenue hopes to stay as far away from the bottom 4 positions of relegation this season. Referee wanting the Kings Lynn man to go no further, stops him in his tracks. Do get the play back underway with a throw-in on the far hand side. Omotayo in battle with Luke Haven. Haven comes out on top this time, and it's played out off the big man for a throw-in for Avenue on the far side, which Marudza will take once again. Marudza will look to use his line into Johnson, who finds a flick on into Church. Church just can't get the ball under his control, but once again the Kings Lynn defence allowed to put his hands on Church and kind of make the battle not really a 50-50. Referee does seem to be letting a lot go. And we're into Scott here on the left hand side of Kings Lynn. He plays it inside. And it goes all the way back through to Sykes Kenworthy, who clears towards Church. Church may have a little sniff of getting on the end of this. It's covered well by Crowther for Kings Lynn, who heads it back to his goalkeeper. Denton gets us back underway again. Plays it in well to Ponticelli. Ponticelli chests it down. He's looking at his teammates as if to say, come on, you've got to get in and around me. Spencer gobbled it back up and Avenue were back in possession. Hopper looking to take it down the left and the right hand side for Avenue here. Again, he's absolute bulldozed by the defence. Carries on, he's back up on his feet, and Denton and Scott left with no option but to foul him again. Hopper, tenacious industrial work by the young midfielder. Mark Bauer will be delighted with his work. Fielding. Sam Fielding coming over here to take the set piece. Hopper stands over it as well, but as we know, it'll be very likely that it'll be the big man for Avenue to take this set piece. His delivery was very good against Scunthorpe last week in pre-season. Fielding delivers, right-footed, crossed in. It's great delivery, but everybody had almost gone beyond the ball. Nobody really judged the flight of that cross correctly as it came in right towards a penalty spot and out for a throw-in on the far side. I think Avenue will be disappointed not to have at least made some sort of contact with that delivery. Kings Lynn gets back underway with the throw-in on the far side. It's Maruza up with the head, and again Mateo brings it down for Kings Lynn, and Maruza gets his body in front of the ball and man to win it back. At the moment, possession with neither team. It's cleared over to Leicester. Dunstan does fantastically well to get there first. Straight on the move after laying it off for Hopper. Hopper and Dunstan playing little 1-2s together here to start the attack for Avenue. Dunstan turns inside, it breaks for Richmond. Richmond with his back to goal plays it back to Lund, and Lund goes into Spencer, who looks into Church into the channel, and unfortunately for Avenue it goes all the way through to the keeper. Again, just a couple of yards away from being a good ball in by Spencer. Kings Lynn gets back underway now with the long ball in towards Mateo. It's dealt with well by Lund. Spencer just gets a little shove in the back, but it's fair. Breaks well for Lynn now. Richmond battling well, and that's a foul on Hopper all day long. Matt Bauer and Danny Bosch going absolutely ballistic with the referee once again here down on the near touchline. Referee struggling at times to keep hold of a game which really shouldn't be losing any control of. I think the number 14 for Kings Lynn, Cameron Hargreaves, is going to get a yellow card here for stopping the counter-attack. It wasn't obvious, it was a cynical foul to break up the play for Avenue. They were almost in, not in on goal, but certainly in against the back line for Kings Lynn. Sam Fielding now to take the free kick, just inside his own half, plays towards Johnson on the left. Goes over Johnson, and Jones will be able to deal with this for Kings Lynn. Goes long into the channel where Haven meets it for Avenue. Maruza cuts inside, back to Haven. Haven goes long into the channel once again towards Church, and Church is going to give up the ghost on that one quite early as it goes out for Kings Lynn throw-in. Be interesting to see how long into the half both managers need to wait to see before making any changes, either through fitness and whatnot. Just after pre-season, fitness levels may not be at a optimum. Tyler Denton from left to right plays it towards Crowther, and Crowther gives it into Jones once again for Kings Lynn. It's been a big outlet for Kings Lynn so far for the visitors today. Crowther into Mateo. Mateo holds the ball up well down the right hand side for Kings Lynn. Plays it into Hargreaves and out to Jones. Kings Lynn just keeping some good possession. They've done this a couple of moments in the game of Kings Lynn. They've kept good possession without being too threatening, but it recycles play, allows for openings to come. Jones cuts inside now, and he strikes the ball well. He's saved well by Sykes Kenworthy. It's a save that it would have been expecting to make, but it was a good save nonetheless, and he parried it well to take it away from any danger for Avenue. Ball's now broken really well for Hargreaves here for Kings Lynn, and Hopper probably needlessly gives away a foul. He complains once again. This one is a free kick, unfortunately. The referee given no option but to give a foul. Hopper just manhandled his man Hargreaves to stop him breaking away. And here we will be making a substitution for Kings Lynn, pretty much on cue. Opposite to the commentator's curse just there, Joshua Barrett will be coming on for Kings Lynn, the number 10. Didn't see who came off for Kings Lynn, but it will be Joshua Barrett coming on. It was number 14, Cameron Hargreaves, who came off for Kings Lynn on a yellow card, so it kind of makes sense. And Joshua Barrett's first moment of the game will be to step up for this free kick. It's a two-man wall for Avenue Small when it clearly looks as if the substitute is going to strike this. Interesting that Sykes Kenworthy chooses to go with only two in his wall, Barrett steps up, right footed, strikes, bounces just in front of Sykes Kenworthy. Comfortable save for the Avenue number 1. Sykes Kenworthy looking to get the attack underway straight away. Hopper was closing down on Denton, but Denton cleared away pretty comfortably for Kings Lynn. Kings Lynn back on attack now with Omateu. Richmond steps in there, buzzing around, constantly trying to win possession for his team. He's certainly a ball winner, is the Avenue number 8. Denton now looks to get forward from the left centre-back position. It's cleared away by Avenue. I was informed before the game that Tyler Denton is actually still travelling from the Yorkshire area down to Norfolk on a regular basis to train. Still living in God's own country up in Yorkshire. Who'd want to leave? Omateo now with the ball for Kings Lynn once again. Gives it off to the substitute Barrett. And Barrett plays it inside to Clunan. And Clunan goes all the way across to Denton on this left side for Kings Lynn. Kings Lynn certainly building up a bit of a head of steam at the start of this second half. After the penalty claim for Avenue, they've not really had much in an attacking sense. Good spells of possession for Kings Lynn as they look to become the dominant force in the match. Scott goes across now to Crowther, and Crowther looks to carry out and gives it to Barrett. Barrett taking up a position just behind Omateo up front by the looks of it. It's crossing here by Jones and all the way through to Sykes Kenworthy. Once again the delivery from the wide positions for Kings Lynn, not the most accurate, and Avenue able to defend fairly comfortably. Sykes Kenworthy's handling so far has been pretty impressive. He's come for a couple of floating crosses which maybe he could have left for his defenders to deal with, but overall his performance has been good today. It's long towards Church. Church gets there, but it bounces off him and breaks for Denton, and Denton goes wide to Scott. Hopper bursting a gut to get towards the full-back. He's having to do a lot of work on this side, is Hopper, to deal with Denton and Scott. Ball now back with Sykes Kenworthy in his hands. Comfortable possession. Referee ignoring the rule of 8 seconds like they all do. He goes long towards Johnson and Church. Church wins the header. Not an accurate flick on and out for a Lynn goal kick. Jones gets us back underway immediately and gives it to Coulson. And Coulson goes out to Denton once again. Kings Lynn looking for less breaks in play in this half. Certainly looking to be quicker in possession. Goes long in here towards Widrington. Widrington gives it to Ponticelli. Ponticelli riding challenges and bustling. He's certainly come out in this half full of energy. Ponticelli, a new man at Kings Lynn this season. Just a breaking play here for Madruza. Maruza with the throw-in on the far side, plays it down the channel to Church. Church gets hold of it well, but gives it unfortunately to Ponticelli, who looks forward and gives it to Haven, who plays it out for a throw-in for Kings Lynn on the far side. Straight back in play again, much more pace to Kings Lynn's game in this half. Comes all the way across to the left to Denton, who now looks to go back across again. They're just trying to find them gaps. Widrington plays it forward towards Ponticelli. Lundy's up and gets there first. Scott brings it down well, but it breaks for Fielding. Sam Fielding just giving the ball away once again. His accuracy in passing range just showing that of a centre back rather than that of a centre midfielder. Kings Lynn keeping possession once more across the halfway line. Clunan looking at all times for his options. Omateo got there first. Oh, an unbelievable moment. Ponticelli getting on the end of the Omateo flick on. I cannot believe it's not resulted in a goal, as the Ponticelli struck it straight at Sykes Kenworthy. And Sykes Kenworthy very fortunate to go down and get a hold of the ball. It's a save that really didn't know much about. It more just hit him than anything else. More luck than judgment for the Avenue number 1. Certainly we should have seen the first goal of the game there for Kings Lynn. Thankfully for Avenue, it is still 0-0. Lund, Dunstan and Hopper just look to keep a bit of possession here for Avenue as they look to get a bit more composure back into the game. They were extremely fortunate to not be behind after that moment. Spencer plays it into Maruzza. Maruzza cuts inside, goes back out on his left side. Good bit of skill by the young man. It's bouncing about in the box and it's cleared away by Kings Lynn. Dunstan should be under this, but he's got a massive target alongside him in Mateo. Little and large between them two. Referee can't wait to give a free kick for that for some reason. Next to nothing in that on Spencer, but Avenue will take it. Danny Boschel on the sideline here in the dugout, just telling the midfield, just calm it down, get a bit more composure back in the game. Just got breaking play Fielding stepping over the free kick, just over the halfway line into the Kings Lynn half. Fielding is going to look to go long towards Richmond. Richmond points in behind the back line. Fielding now floats it in towards Richmond. Richmond does win it. He fouls Scott. 2 hands in the back. Referee given no choice but to blow for a foul on this occasion. Free kick inside the Kings Lynn box. It goes long. Dunstan gets there ahead of Mateo. Denton goes all the way back to his goalkeeper once again to keep hold of safe possession for Kings Lynn. Ball carried now out with Coulson, and Coulson goes long towards Mateo once again. They've not given the big man a lot of chance to really win the 50-50s against the centre-backs. The balls have either been too long or too far into the channels. On that occasion, once again, it's simple for Lund and Haven to just drop off the big man and win the flick on back to Sykes Kenworthy. On Mateo, but just asking his teammates to just take 5 yards off the ball. Dunstan here under a little bit of pressure from Ponticelli. Goes out for a throw-in for Avenue. Halfway inside the Avenue half. Dunstan's going to look to use his line. He doesn't, he actually checks back and gives it to Lund, and Lund goes long towards Church. It's Coulson that's underneath it. Church there again. Coulson throws him out of the way. Once again, Church complains. Nothing given. It's in towards Denton. Good pressure by Church. Just made Denton struggle, and it is going to be brought back for a free kick. I don't think the referee was going to give that. It's given by the linesman on this near side. Ball broke well for Hopper and Church, and Hopper drawing the foul from, I think it was Denton. Denton complains with the linesman once again. He says no, it's a free kick. I think it probably was fouled for the benefit of Avenue. It's going to be taken some 5 or 6 yards just outside the Kings Lynn box on the near side. Once again, it'll be Fielding and Hopper to stand over the delivery. Avenue will be hoping to make more of this opportunity than they did the last delivery that they put into the box from exactly the same position, to be honest. Fielding getting ready, referee's whistle goes. Fielding now whips it in right footed. It's right towards the penalty spot and it's headed up, and Jones takes possession of the ball for Kings Lynn fairly comfortably. It's well defended by Kings Lynn because it was a good delivery. It was whipped in well. Jones throws it out to the right where Jones is in. Jones gets there before Spencer. Jones cuts inside and does win a free kick. It's a smart foul by Richmond. Whether it was a foul or not, it's a smart foul as it brings and slows the counter-attack down for Kings Lynn. Allows Avenue to get back in position. Looks like it will be Clunan to take this from deep. Gives it out quickly to Barrett, and Barrett knocks it past Johnson. Johnson defends well, a little risky, but Johnson did enough. And Maruzza will look to now counter. A little trick again by the fullback, the young fullback, not put off by his debut today in men's football. Certainly showed some confidence, and I think he's equipped himself well for his debut. Dunstan now plays it into Hopper. And Hopper under pressure by the Kings Lynn midfield. Ends up going all the way back to Sykes Kenworthy. Dangerous moment for Sykes Kenworthy, but he deals with it well. Left-footed clearance and all the way through to the Kings Lynn number 1. Some players currently struggling here and there with cramp. You can see it starting to set in. Widrington in the midfield for Kings Lynn, just stretching his hamstrings out. Good delivery there from the right hand side towards Mateo, the number 9 for Kings Lynn, and thankfully for Avenue, Lund just stretched and got a little flick back towards Sykes Kenworthy, taking away the danger for Avenue. Sykes Kenworthy now goes long towards Johnson. Johnson up once again against Crowther. Crowther wins this time. Fielding on the second ball into the midfield. Sam Fielding once again goes forward towards Church. It's Richmond and Spencer and Hopper all following in. Hopper now wins the ball, and Maruza, first time. There is a free kick there. Johnson did want to kind of play on. Well, it's offside, unbelievably. Against, I think it was Ollie Johnson. I'm pretty sure that the foul on Maruza came before the offside altercation. However, nothing given, and it's given for Kings Lynn. We're going to see a stop and play here as Mark Bauer makes his first substitution of the season. It will be Will Longbottom for his second debut for Avenue after returning to the club this pre-season from Farsley. A bit Ollie Johnson making way after some 65, I believe, minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Ollie Johnson certainly put a shift in on the left wing today for Avenue. Will Longbottom played a lot of pre-season, so I'll be happy to see some minutes today. Be looking to make an impression to try and find starting spot in Mark Bauer's plans for the coming weeks. Goal kick now, free kick to be taken by Jones just outside the box. Goes long towards Mateo again. Mateo is there first against Longbottom, straight into the action for Avenue. It's played into Ponticelli. Ponticelli gets there first again. Mateo plays inside. It's cut out really well by Sam Fielding. Sam Fielding looking for an instant counter-attacking opportunity. Just doesn't get enough on it towards Church. Church frustrated. He was really looking to break off the back line for Kings Lynn there. Dunstan plays it inside to Fielding. Fielding just takes a little bit too long about it. Oh, he does manage to squeeze out a ball to Maruza. It's a great ball. Maruza now needs to get his head up. Little step over it. Cuts inside. Does get a touch in. It's Church with his back to goal. And just as he rolled away from the defender, Crowther managed to get a foot in and just squirm it away from danger. Fielding now whips the ball in again. Denton's there first, and it's out for an Avenue corner on the far side. Brilliant ball by Fielding from deep, whipped in right-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and Denton managed to get there ahead of Hopper and get it out for a corner. Maruza is currently down again with what looks like cramp. Few of the players now starting to struggle on day one of the Conference North season. Mark Bauer calls for a sub. I think we're going to see the last of the debut from Maruza here. Will be extremely happy with his debut. I think Mark Bauer will be extremely happy with the new man. Well, Longbottom just comes across here to take instructions from the management team, as Avenue look to probably have a little reshuffle here to make the sub. No natural left back option on the bench to change for here for Avenue. It will be Andre Brooks coming on for Avenue, the new man. I believe he's through the academy, is Andre. Looking to make a debut. It will be Maruza coming off. He's going to go off the far side rather than be expected to walk across here by the referee. Very strong debut for the number 3. Be looking to be back on the pitch next week, either against Scarborough or as Avenue make their first away trip of the season at Kettering. Be interesting to see how Avenue now set up after the jig around. And we'll bring you that after this corner. Sam Fielding now will deliver right-footed in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's drilled in by Hopper, left-footed and way over the bar. And his more unnatural left foot. It does look as if Longbottom is going to fill in now at left back. He'll be frustrated. He's just come onto the pitch and is certainly a more of an attacking option. Is Longbottom. He's going to fill in at left back. And Andre Brooks will take up a left midfield, left wing position. Hopper staying out here on the right with Stillchurch up front. Midfield 3 still of Richmond, Spencer and Fielding. Won well by Lund. And Richmond here gives it back to Haven. And Haven looks to go long towards Church. It's headed away well by Coulson. Crowther. Haven looks to go long now towards Church once again. Church battles well with the centre-backs as he has done all game. Fielding a little bit slow in possession, just allows the Kings Lynn man to get a foot in first. Amateu challenges with Haven and Haven comes out on top. Denton just gets there ahead of Hopper and the ball breaking for Hopper. Spencer doing well against Scott and Denton. Spencer looking to get on with it quickly, plays it into Church. Church back to goal. Referee carries on. I'm pretty sure there should have been a foul to Kings Lynn there. Referee allowed the play to continue. And the ball's broken now to Andre Brooks on the left hand side. First touch for the new man. Gives it into Longbottom. Longbottom crosses from deep towards Church. And Church hedges it over the bar from some 5 or 6 yards out up against Tyler Denton. He peeled onto the full back. Certainly a battle that Church will be hoping to win is that one, rather than against the bigger centre backs. Did get a good contact on the ball, but it, unfortunately for Avenue, went high over the bar. Kings Lynn back underway. Shanks it pretty much straight out of play for an Avenue throw-in halfway inside the Avenue half. Game has gone back and forward, but so far Avenue will be happy with the second half. I think they'll probably be the happier of the two teams. Kings Lynn started the half well, but since then Avenue have started to put more of their game on Kings Lynn than the other way around. Kings Lynn struggling with taking the free kick from where it should be taken, and after a third attempt do get the game back underway. Comes all the way across to the left with Denton, who looks for Scott once more, and Scott goes back to Denton. Denton looks into the channel this time into Barrett, and Barrett flicks it onto Ponticelli, and Lund gets there first. Mitch Lund has been absolutely fantastic through the whole of pre-season and will be hoping to be the main man at the back for Avenue this season. Denton, good ball across for Kings Lynn. They look to get the switch on. Not a great ball by Clunan, and Clunan really gives Jones too much to do down the right hand side and out for an Avenue throw-in. As we approach the back end of the game, it'll be interesting to see if either team can just do enough to take all 3 points today. You're kind of now at the stage where one goal wins a game. Game getting very scrappy. Both teams struggling to just get on the ball and make the most of their moments. We're going to get free kick from just probably about halfway inside the Avenue half. It'll be Barrett that'll take the free kick. He's going to go long in towards the big men that have all come forward from the back, alongside Amateu up front, the number 9. Barrett delivers right-footed. It's dealt with well by Spencer. Barrett's going to let that go back out for a throw-in for Kings Lynn on the far side. Another substitution here for Avenue, and it will be the big man making his debut for Avenue, Jacob Blythe, wearing number 16, and it will be a like-for-like replacement for Eddie Church up front. He's been hard working today as Eddie Church. He'll be happy with his debut for Avenue, I think, stepping up some levels to the Conference North this season. Certainly put a shift in. Struggled into the channels. The delivery has not always been great for him, and he's been up against two huge centre-backs in Coulson and Crowther for Kings Lynn. Jacob Blythe will probably have a little bit more joy against them, being quite a big target man himself. Back underway now for Kings Lynn on the far hand side. It's dealt with by Haven. Haven goes for the head and clears into Longbottom, and Longbottom eventually manages to get it out, but it's still with Kings Lynn. It's played in long towards Amateo, and it's going to go all the way through to Sykes Kenworthy. Sykes Kenworthy was a little bit slow off his heels there, just waited a little bit too long. Having and Lund were both looking around for him to come a little bit quicker. He just got there on this occasion. He's done the sweeper-keeper role quite well today, though, as the Avenue number 1. He goes long in towards Jacob Blythe as he gets his first action of the half. It's won well by Crowther. It's back in towards Blythe again, and it's dealt with by the back line of Kings Lynn once more. Spencer heads it in to Hopper. Hopper can't quite win that one. Dunstan gives it away sloppily to Kings Lynn, and they're now back on the attack with the opportunity to counter. Barrett in the midfield, put under a lot of pressure by Richmond and Andre Brooks. Hopper gets a bit of space, plays it inside to Spencer. Spencer turns inside also and gives it to Brooks. Brooks looking to make an impression. That could have been a nasty foul on Denton. Denton doesn't make much of it. Over enthusiasm of the young man there, Andre Brooks. Big opportunity for some of Avenue's academy to make an impression today. And this season, Barrett skips away from a Dunstan. This is good moments for Kings Lynn. Barrett looking to find that moment to just get the shot away, and he skips across the edge of his box. He's got 3 men on him, toe pokes it, comes out to Scott on the left-hand side. Scott looks to play it in. Oh, it's flicked away from Amateo by Longbottom. Just managed to stretch and get his golden locks up to it and flick it away for a Kings Lynn throw-in. Big moments in these last stages of the game for Kings Lynn. Avenue will be hoping to hold on for at least a point here today. Potticelli brings it down and gives it to Jones, and back to Potticelli. Potticelli does manage to dig out a cross, and it's Amateo with the header for Kings Lynn at the back post, some 5 yards out, and it does hit the top corner of the net for Kings Lynn. Kings Lynn 1, Avenue 0. Very little that Sykes Kenworthy could do with that. It was well delivered into the box. Amateo's waited all game for his opportunity. The big man, some 6'3", 6'4" at the back post, some 5 yards out. It's pretty much a no contest. And he does head well into the back of the goal. Not long here for Avenue to try and find a way back into the game. Huge disappointment for Avenue. Kings Lynn taking a long time getting back into position. Kings Lynn fans behind the goal extremely happy with that one. Jamie Spencer waiting to get the goal, the game back underway. Amateo, Barrett just now getting back in their own half. Took an extremely long time to get back in position. Spencer gets us back underway with Fielding, and Fielding will look to go long towards Blythe. Blythe doesn't get up ahead of Coulson, and Coulson heads away. Fielding back in possession. Gives it to Longbottom. Longbottom looks up and looks to dink in and goes over the head of Hopper. It should be dealt with by Scott. It's shanked away by Scott, and it gets a little bit fortunate, who then also... Widrington gets a little bit fortunate also, plays it straight against Spencer and out for a Kings Lynn throw-in on this near side halfway inside the Kings Lynn half. Extremely difficult at this stage for Avenue to find some extra resolve and find their way back into this game. Said earlier, the margins have been very small in this game. Potticelli is breaking now for Avenue. Fantastic tackle by Haven. The margins have been extremely small. It's a good ball, and Blythe could be in here. Blythe nearly gets there ahead of the onrushing Jones out of the Kings Lynn goal. Jones managed to just get it away for an Avenue corner. Jacob Blythe feeding off of a delivery there that Eddie Church had been waiting for the whole game into the channels. Jacob Blythe just looked like he was going to get the toe there first, but Jones just got there ahead of him and played it out for a corner. It's going to be delivered left-footed by Will Longbottom on this occasion. Near side, whips it in. Good delivery right towards the 6-yard box. It's punched away well by Jones, and then the clearance is finished off by Potticelli at the edge of his box. Longbottom, the urgency ramped up by Avenue now as they try and find a way back into this game. Certainly I think at least a point would be deserved for Avenue. They've not been second best today. It's played into the box and cleared away by Denton towards the edge of the Kings Lynn box. Andre Brooks just gets shrugged off by Barrett, but Andre Brooks gets a second stab at it, brings the ball down, gives it to Richmond, who Richmond looks to dig a crossing, and gives it to Hopper. Hopper to Spencer! And unlucky for Avenue. Spencer, some 20 yards out, struck the ball extremely well. It was flat, very low. Unfortunately for Avenue, it was pretty straight towards Jones. Jones hardly had to move. As long as he got his body in behind the save, should never have really been a problem for the Kings Lynn number 1. And he does make a comfortable save. We have got a break in play here temporarily while I think it's Coulson who's down for Kings Lynn, just receiving a little bit of treatment. Looks as if he may have had some sort of knock to the nose at some point. He just needed some treatment on the old cotton buds up the nostrils. Referee will look to get the game back underway with Jones, the Kings Lynn number 1. Doesn't want any time wasting any further than what's really needed. Coulson will be coming back on the pitch, fully bunged up in the nozzles. Back underway with Jones. Blythe puts pressure on him to make sure that he has to pick the ball up and get the game back underway. There can't be too much longer to go here for Avenue to try and find a way back into this game. Jones goes long. Richmond wins the header. Hopper may get there ahead of Denton. No, Denton's going to just get there first. Gets his body in front. It is a throw-in to Kings Lynn right by the corner flag. Attendance just announced. I'm sorry folks, I didn't hear the attendance here today, but good turnout on the far side in the stand opposite me, opposite the pavilion, as Conference North football gets back underway. At some point Kings Lynn have made a substitution, and it's Walker that's come on for Kings Lynn. Walker straight into the action. He's going to make this, and he's going to hold the ball up, play it back to Barrett at the edge of the, just inside the box actually, on the far side. Hit an Avenue body and out for a corner. Ponticelli, the man making way for Kings Lynn. Been a bit of a thorn in the side for Avenue all day as Ponticelli, replaced by Zane Walker for the remaining minutes of this game. It's going to be delivered here by Barrett. Barrett floats it in right-footed, in towards Mateo once again. Don't think he got a great contact with that. It came back off Mitch Lund and then ricocheted back off Mateo out for an Avenue goal kick. Sykes Kenway, they're looking to get on with it quickly. Target once again will be Jacob Blythe, who is a good 15 yards offside currently. He'll look to play off seconds and get back onside. Hopper flicks it on. Did he touch that? I'm not sure he did. That's a foul, certainly on Blythe. So it's a good position. Coulson slipped and was left with really no option but to foul Blythe, who was looking to go over the top of him. Basically ran into his back and gave away a free kick. Big moments this for Avenue. Good delivery here will be absolutely vital. It'll be Longbottom and Hopper to stand over it, fielding inside the box this time to try and make a bit more of his aerial presence. Certainly one of the taller of the Avenue players. Longbottom and Hopper. 10 yards outside the box on the far right hand side by the throwing line. Hopper runs over it. Longbottom strikes left footed. It's a good delivery. Mateo's there first. Goalkeeper Jones was coming to collect it or to punch. Mateo flicks it away for a corner for Avenue. Avenue look to ramp up the pressure again. Fielding will deliver this from the far side, right-footed. Wants to get on with it quickly. Good delivery in towards the 6-yard box. Mateo there again with the big header, making the most of his aerial presence. Spencer Now on the edge of the box, plays it in towards the penalty spot. It's cleared away by Kings Lynn. Spencer brings it down, cuts inside. Good touch by the midfielder. Poor delivery, unfortunately, for Avenue, and it is cleared away now more successfully by Kings Lynn. A Dunstan left with no option but to deal with that under pressure by Walker and out for a throw-in. Certainly in the last few minutes of the game here for Avenue. Kings Lynn just looking to take the sting out of them attacks. The referee wanting Tyler Denton to get on with the game. Tyler's like, I'm coming at my own pace, ref. I'm doing my own thing. Tyler now looking to take it down this left-hand side, plays it down the line towards Amateo once again. Jacob Blythe brought the ball down well, but Richmond wasn't on the same hymn sheet as him. Jamie Spencer winning a free kick well there. Again, both Theo Widrington and Jamie Spencer both arguing their case. Both journeymen of the non-league. Sykes Kenworthy sends everybody away and he's going to take it some 15 yards outside of his box. Go long. Try and find some knockdowns here off the big men up front for Avenue. Goes long. Right to left towards Jacob Blythe. Jacob Blythe does get there, but his flick on, unfortunately, doesn't divert it in towards the penalty spot. Just diverts it out for a goal kick for Kings Lynn. Paul Jones looking to take the goal kick for Kings Lynn here. Gets back underway. Once again, taking his time. No need to rush. Goes long. Once again towards Amateo. Amateo wins the flick on against Haven. Walker brings it down well. Little jink away from his men. Good movement by the Kings Lynn winger. It's cleared out for Kings Lynn throwing. Kings Lynn just looking to kill the game at any opportunity. Referee looking to get him on with it at every opportunity as well, to be fair to the man in the middle. Clunan takes it away into the corner here. A little bit of time wasting and silly foul by Richmond. Right on the throwing line, pretty much by the corner flag. Richmond just goes into the back of the Kings Lynn number 7 and wins an easy free kick. Referee just indicating additional 4 minutes, so we are in added time here at the Horsfall Stadium. Can there be one more opportunity for Avenue to turn this around and take something from the game? Certainly very little in between the two teams, just the one big moment of the game fell to Amateo, the big tower in number 9 for Kings Lynn, and he made the most of it. No mistake from that distance out. And that's all that really has been between the two teams. Amateo now will look to keep it in the corner. Few Avenue bodies go over there. Nothing given by the referee against Barrett, who flailed himself to the floor. Crowther with the clearance out for a throw-in for Avenue here. Avenue now will look to get everybody forward. Matt Bauer laughing to himself down here as he tries to get a spare ball and shanks it behind the goal. Wasting his own team's time here is the manager. I'm not sure about that one. Sam Fielding's going to take this long. We've not seen this so far here today. It does go long now with a long throw in towards the edge of the box. It's Amateo there again for Kings Lynn, who looks to win everything in the air. The ball now breaks for Walker. Spencer gets there first. Dunstan looks to loft it forward. Amateo there once again for Kings Lynn. Barrett inside his own half did break the offside trap there and looked to burst away, but Dunstan was quick to make sure that nothing came of that. Dunstan looked to cut inside and gives it away to Aaron Jones. Barrett from a good 20 yards out. Ball broke to him after Jones cut inside. Struck it first time and it went out aimlessly to Sykes Kenworthy's far right. Sykes Kenworthy goes long quick in towards Brooks. Brooks against Coulson, really no contest there as Kings Lynn get the ball away. Kings Lynn at the moment just happy to shank the ball anywhere away from their own box. Dunstan will look to loft it in. Blythe backs into his man. Blythe brings it down. Blythe! And it's blocked by the Kings Lynn defence. It's scrappy. Blythe looks to get away a shot again. And again it's dealt with by Kings Lynn. Mateo now manages to do the target man job and run it into the corner. Great work by the big man. Kings Lynn will have doubts in their mind after losing so many games last season. Only winning 9 times in the whole season, losing over 20 matches in the Conference National. Jacob Blythe surely miles offside here, and the linesman does put his flag up for offside. Just won't break for Avenue. The ball broke so kindly twice to Jacob Blythe. 2 shots struck both times. Good defending by Kings Lynn as they threw bodies in front of the shots, and both times nothing coming off for Avenue, and the ball was managed to be cleared by Kings Lynn eventually. John's told to get on with it by the referee once again. He's going to go long here towards Mateo once more. Can't be long to go now for Avenue. Sykes Kenworthy gets his hands on the ball. Will he get one more opportunity to play it forward? He does out of his hands. Goes in towards the halfway line. Just over. Hopper in challenge with Denton. Nothing given by the referee as both men went down. Haven will shank it forward once more. Just want to get it forward at this stage to Avenue. It's well worked by Kings Lynn. Scott down this left hand side gives it into Walker. Walker will now look to carry it down the left hand side. Probably going towards Klein. He doesn't. He does actually choose to go inside towards the danger area. Barrett, Jinx, left footed, struck well. And it's going to break for Scott. Scott's going to do nothing with it here but take it towards the corner flag. And that is the end of the game after 4 minutes of added time. A lot of Park Avenue heads slump. Certainly Avenue will be very happy with their guile and determination, the work rate. First game of the season, plenty of opportunities to put right, but unfortunately for Avenue, it is a failure of a start in a 1-0 defeat at the hands of recently relegated Kings Lynn. Finish here at the Horsfall Stadium. Kings Lynn, Bradford Park Avenue 0, Kings Lynn 1. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you all again soon.